And I'm going to ask you, Sean, in your humble opinion, do you feel that the NFL Super Bowl is considered to be like more viewed by the world than the soccer World Cup?
So, firstly, I think one, I agree with you. This to be Super Bowl champion. This is a sort of, for me, it's like a dumb reason, but I'm going to say it anyway. They like to claim that they're world champions, but it's not a real title. It means an American champion, but they are a world champion in a way because nobody else is playing this
Exactly. Yeah,
the
yeah,
sport
yeah.
that they're playing.
They
So
dominate. They dominate. They
let's
dominate.
rest that. You are correct. In numbers, the World Cup is more global. I saw number 1.5 billion people watched the last World Cup, right? Compare that to the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl I saw, you said 123. I read something where the numbers spiked in the second quarter because people thought maybe the Chiefs might come back, right, against the Eagles.
Yeah.
There was all those mistakes, and it was a blowout, right? So you are correct. In pure numbers, more people watch the World Cup final than they watch the Super Bowl. When people watch it, they look at it as like that's the real world champion.
Yeah.
However, I will say these 2 points, and I wonder what you say about this. In terms of like a spectacle, and I think the World Cup is an incredible spectacle. Everybody's sort of fixated on it. But in terms of just the actual, like the program for the day, like while you're watching, when you're not watching the 45 minutes, then it's a half, and then you go to the bathroom or you go eat something, and then you come back for the second half. What's different about the Super Bowl as a spectacle? It's built around two other things, which I know that people even outside the US pay attention to. One is this thing called the halftime show.
Yeah.
In football now, in soccer or football now, people are beginning to say, "Oh, we need to do like halftime shows." And I know at like the Euros and the World Cup and so on, they've had like a pre-show, a halftime show. But I don't know people growing up watching the World Cup, even as an adult. I've never like stopped to watch the
To watch. Yeah.
World Cup pre-show or the World Cup halftime show. But I do watch I can tell you who performed at the Super Bowl. It was Usher, it was Kendrick. People debate like the merits of this halftime show and whether it was good or bad or whatever. And then quickly the other main reason for me is the commercials.
Yeah.
The way in which like the World Cup, the World Cup is also like a big commercial thing about marketing. It's about making lots of money. It's also about business. It's a lot about sponsors, like all the sponsors around the field, their boards and all that. But it's not like the way in which commercials are just part of the culture of the Super Bowl. Like you're looking out for these commercials, like people talk about like what's your favorite commercial?
Yeah.
Commercials, what are the commercials depicting? And just quickly in this Super Bowl, people talked a lot about like how at least I would say maybe more than half the commercials was obsessed with this idea of American unity, playing sort of like this sort of violin, like kind of very heavy kind of music to get you in a mood about we are unified because the country is divided. So
Yeah.
for me, those two aspects, the halftime show and the way that the game is tied in with commercials, is what makes for me the Super Bowl slightly different and stand out as a